IT. I hope you can see me okay and hear me all right. Put it into the chat if everything is working fine for you. Oh, let me find my footrest. Okay. If you're on the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're here. And if you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. I'd love to find out. So this is typically a members only live stream. It was only available to the elite navigators. It's through the YouTube membership, so you can click join right there and be an elite navigator. You get this live stream every day at 3 p.m. GMT plus 8. Doing a little bit different today, where if I've done it correctly, I've made it public for everyone. Firstly, because we're just sharing some good vibes out there. Secondly, I'm doing this stream today, and then I'm going to take a bit of a break, going to travel for a week plus. So it's going to be it's going to be a stream and it's going to be out there for about a week, right? So I thought I'll just share it out to everyone. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Good to see you on the session. The other thing is also that today is a little bit different. I will be doing the analysis on H4 time frame because we are going to be looking at the trades here now, and I won't be looking at it for the whole week. So we look at it on H4 time frame. So let's see how that kind of plays out. Okay, so again, if you're on the session, hey Lazarus Sunday, good to see you. How are you doing? Now, if you're on the session, yes, like what everyone has been doing, drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're on. Let me know where you're joining us from. And help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And that's all I'll ask for now. All right, I'll ask you for one more thing later on towards the end of the session, but that's all I'll ask for now. Oh, I should have had this one up. All right, so good to go. Oh, if you have any questions at any point in time, put it into the chat and let me know. Any particular pairs you'd like me to look at as well, put it into the chat and let me know. Okay? So now, as we are going to be looking, first things, a couple of things. As we're looking into the H4 on the H4 time frame, what we should do, or what we typically would do, is look into the news that's going to be planned for the week, right? The news for the week. Today, relatively quiet. Today is relatively quiet. So that's kind of good and kind of good news. Because of one news, which I'll tell you about shortly. Tomorrow we do have the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, with their interest rate decision, right? Their cash rate, overnight cash rate, looking to go from a 4.1% down to a 3.85%, right? So a cut expected there from the RBA, which could or should bring about some weakness onto the Aussie dollar. So that's going to be interesting for tomorrow. Following on from that, tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we do have the CPI for the Canadians, and it looks like it's going to stay relatively flat or maybe increase ever so slightly. Inflation has been slowly creeping up, so that's something to watch out for eventually, but not right now. It's still not ringing the alarm bells right now. Okay, then on to Wednesday, we have the CPI for the UK. Again, inflation growth here for the UK looking like it's going to go from year on year 2.6 to a 3.3. It almost seems like they've just won the battle, bringing inflation down. And now, because of tariffs, because of all the uncertainty, because of the possibly because of the rate cut decisions and the path the RBA, the reserve banks, the central banks have been taking to cut rates, it's kind of popped or brought inflation growth back up a little bit more. Now for the UK, expected 2.6 to go to 3.3, or previously at 2.6, expected to go to a 3.3. Hey Diana, how you doing? Good morning. Right, so now with that said, then on to Thursday we have French PMI, German PMI, UK PMI, Eurozone PMI, and the US PMI. Not too bothered about those. And then after that, we have retail sales on Friday for the UK. All good, fantastic. We have the retail sales for the UK looking to stay at a 0.4%. No big change expected there. And core retail sales and retail sales for the Canadians looking at a small drop. A small drop from a minus 0.4 to a minus 0.3. Kind of an improving drop, I would say. Right, and then on to next week. Monday is a massive bank holiday in the UK for the spring bank holiday, and in the US it's observance of Memorial Day. Through to Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday we have the RBNZ, Reserve Bank of New Zealand, with their rates decision, possibly looking at a rate cut decision to come as well. We'll see how that develops. Okay, and then a whole bunch of holidays, but some other numbers. This ones I probably will be back by then, and I'll update you guys again. Okay, so in terms of news today, bit of a breather. Tomorrow, RBA with the Aussie interest rate cut from a 4.1 possibly down to a 3.85. Seems like a bit of a I was gonna say it seems like a bit of a big cut. I think that's fine. That's reasonable. And then CPI for the Canadian, CPI for the UK, and then PMI numbers on the two bothered, and then the retail sales number on Friday. Okay. All good. Again, if you're on the session, drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're on. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment if you have any further questions. Okay, so now let's look at the dollar index. Again, remember I'm doing this, especially for all my regulars. We usually do on the H1 time frame. I'm doing on the H4 this time round because this will be the stream, and then I'm going away for a week plus. But I'll be back. Okay, so we'll look at it on a slightly longer time frame. Now with that dollar index, okay, that now dollar index, this is what we had, right? We had a whole bunch. This was last week. Where are we? So this was last week where there was good news in terms of some trade or tariff negotiation between the US and China, which we saw a massive push up on the dollar index. And then once it got up to that 61.8 from the medium term, it hit that bearish trend line as well, got resisted and pushed back down, right? It pushed back down. So all the good news from the tariff agreements came back right back down on Wednesday to even below where it started. And then after that, for the rest, for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's been chopping and changing between that 100.50 and 101.20 level. Right? Hasn't really developed a new particular buyers yet. So I'll put that one there just to highlight the 50%. No live stream this week. Apart from today, unlikely. I'm arriving in Dubai tomorrow. It's might be a bit hectic, so I'm not gonna promise anything. Might be a bit hectic, and usually when I get to Dubai, you guys know it gets a bit crazy all the time. I mean, I'm rushing from place to place. Sometimes I jump on an impromptu live if I can, but you gotta subscribe to get the impromptu live. Let's say that. Okay, so a dollar index, big bearish trend line to the downside. It's popped up, now sitting right across. Okay, the thing that I want to remind you guys about is that over the weekend, right? Over the weekend, we just had, not just had, but there. We had Moody's, a ranking rating agency that downgraded the US, right? Downgraded a credit rating for the US. In fact, if you want to read more about that as well, I did that a post Moody's downgrade, a whole write up on the dollar, on the 10-year yield, right? Looking at that pushing back up. So it's all written up there. Basically, Moody's downgraded the US credit rating for the first time since 2011, citing rising debt levels and long term fiscal challenges. Right? So that happened, I think, on a Sunday, if I'm not Saturday or Sunday, if I'm not wrong. It's only either Saturday or Sunday, and that's why we're seeing dollar index pushing slightly to the downside. Further downside, I'm possibly expecting further downside. I know it's hot. I've been tracking the weather, and seems like it's averaging at about 40 degrees, 38, 39, 40. But I have no choice. I'd rather go now at 38, 39, 40, and then take a break from going for the next couple of months rather than go, I can't go next month. I'll go 2 months later and it's 50, 40 something, 50. I still have to go, so make the best out of it. Make the best out of it. And hey, Emmanuel, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? And like I was saying, the good thing about Dubai is everywhere is well air conditioned. Yes, it gets a little bit warm, but it's not that bad. I make the best out of it. Hey, YJ, how you doing? Good to see you on the session. Okay, so dollar index today, week of 19th May 2025. Okay. Yes, I will also post. I won't post this on TradingView. I'll post this on the board thing on YouTube. So you should see it on the communities or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Okay, so you see the summary sheet there as well. Now, as the dollar is pushing down, and in consideration of Moody's downgrading the dollar's credit rating or the US credit rating, there are few key levels to look out for, particularly where it is right now, right? 100.50, where it's bounced off a couple of times. And from this move up, that 61.8. From the bottom up, we're looking at about that 38.2 or that 50 level. Right? So I would actually highlight this whole point as, hey, watch out for that. Keep that one actually. So it's been in kind of that range, right? So it's popped up, came back down, set in that range. We'll keep that one, we'll keep that one. And then we're looking at this 100 round number support level. So at this point, dollar index would have to break 100 to trade down to 98.90. Well, firstly, 99.10, 99.20. Okay, sorry. We're looking at the H4 time frame, so I'm looking at that. 98.90. Okay, so a dollar index, most likely I'm looking at it popping lower, testing, bouncing back up a little bit, then maybe doing that, and then down to that 99 level. Looking at the news on the weekly front, today no big reason, should continue pushing down a little bit because of the Moody's ratings. That might bump it up a little bit. That's not going to do too much. UK might strengthen a little bit. We should push the dollar down a bit more. PMI numbers, I always jinx myself by saying I'm not too bothered about it. But manufacturing PMI looking like it's going to slow down from the previous, while services PMI a slight slowdown from the previous as well. So it all looks like, based on the current news release or expected news release, we should see further downside on the dollar index. Okay. Hey, Hungry Foodie, how are you doing? Okay, so dollar index needs to break 100 round number support for further downside to 99 or 98.90. That's what we're looking for. So it needs to break that 100 and also that slight trend, very bullish trend line in that areas. Okay, so it needs to break that support and short term bullish trend line for further downside to 98.90, following Moody's downgrade. That's kind of what I'm looking out for. Take that one away. Okay. Make sense? Do you agree? What do you think? Let me know. Now, if that makes sense, if you like that, then let's look at the Kiwi dollar. Okay, I'm gonna clean up some of these lines. This is what we looked at on the H1 time frame. Kiwi dollar has been sitting in that slight range. So don't need that. Don't need that for now. Big pop down, 61.8. Yes, that makes sense. From the bottom up to the top here, 38.2. That's broken, so we'll keep 38.2 there. Okay, so the support level here at 38.2 from this range makes sense. In fact, I will kind of refine it a little bit to catch that level, which is there. And consider this whole thing as my support. Now, with that in mind, and expecting the dollar to weaken to the downside, then we should be seeing this push back up. We should be seeing the Kiwi dollar push to the upside, bearing in mind that next week we do have the RBNZ with their rate decision. Okay, so sitting across, I would like to see, in the best case, it retraces slightly before pushing back up. Right? That's on H4. On H1, it looks like it could do that. It's sitting right across. Test, bounce. Let's see this move. How did this move make sense? 50, 61.8. So it came right down, tested 61, came back down again. I don't think it would come all the way down. Right, I don't think it'll come all the way down. The two things to look out for is if it retraces 5870, this area, so it just has to test this and bounce back up. Then you'll be looking at that point, or I like the round number here at 59, like that. So actually what you should be looking for is, regardless of this, I think, yes, it would be nice if it comes down to bounce, but you'll be looking at 5920. Your stop loss shouldn't be 60. Your stop loss could be about 40, because I want it below this round number at 0.59. That's broken. 61 is done. Take that away. Then back up to here, that previous high, which is about there. So 100 there. So 40 to 100. Okay. So that's what I'll be looking for. Yes, best case, it comes down to test and bounce. Then you would have a setup like 5865, stop loss 30, take profit would be a massive 100, 150 to the upside. But I think there might be a bit of a lower chance, possibly looking at it pushing up from here. And Diana saying that's how I was looking at it. If it breaks the weekly fair value and comes to retest that fair value again, I'll buy it up. Yeah, I love it. I love it when we're aligned. Count down, test this area, bounce back up. I'm just not entirely sure that it would have that strength or momentum to do that. So yes, first idea. Yeah, so you could look at that, 5865, stop loss 30, take profit 150 to the upside. But I kind of like that one a bit more. Okay, it's up to preference, it's up to style, right? Trading style. So 5920, 40 to 100. Let's put that in. Oh, I have it there. 5920, 40 to 100 to the upside on the Kiwi dollar, especially if this breaks. This pushes right down. It's going to break. That's possibly going to push right through. And then we're looking at that move up. Like that. Okay. I think that's a bit of a lower chance. Then onto the Aussie dollar. All right, same thing. Was looking for it to zigzag to the upside. It didn't. It sat in this tight range and didn't want to do anything yesterday, or not yesterday, last week. but it's in that range now. The thing is, tomorrow, where is it? Where? Okay, tomorrow we have the cash rate for the Aussies, which is looking at a 4.1 to a 3.85, a cut in cash rates. And they have held it since Feb 18th, right? Since Feb 18th, where they went from 4.35 down to 4.10. And I think it pushed back up a little bit. In fact, during that time, where was it? Feb 18th, that's right here. There. Barely a movement. This was the news. Feb 18th at 10 and 2, it popped back up a little bit before I sat right across. So it was very muted on that rate cut decision. Again, this time I would say that it looks like you look for that push and then maybe a retrace back down or a retrace halfway back down. Okay. So that's what you're looking out for to start. Yep, dollar index weakening, push that up. You would say, okay, 6, 4, 4, 5, stop loss 30. Ooh, cut to 30. Take profit back up here to 60 to the upside. It might even be more interesting where it comes. That's fine. Where it does that, actually. So it might even be more interesting if it does that, right? I'll take that line away. Pop up, and then rate decision on Tuesday to retest as resistance and support, and then push back up towards, I don't think it'll climb, I don't think it'll climb that much, but towards that direction. So that's the first move you can be looking out for. You could even stretch this out to about 90 pips to the upside. Again, remember H4 time frame. Okay, yeah, there we got it. 5920. Yeah, cool. I like that one. 6, 4, 4, 5, 30 to 90. I've got my same levels that we're doing before. 6, 4, 4, 5, 30 to 90 to the upside. That's for the Aussie dollar, expecting the dollar weakness. Look at that. Bollinger wise looks reasonable. Don't pop too far outside, because that's going to cause a retrace, a steeper retrace. A gradual move to the downside would be great. Okay, that. Now on to the pound dollar. Remembering tomorrow, no, not tomorrow. Okay. Wednesday, we have the UK CPI, 2.6 to 3.3. Small, well, not small. If it does go from 2.6 to 3.3, it wouldn't be I don't think it'd be considered as a small growth in inflation. It'd be rather significant. Did it happen take that way? So that is testing now. I don't think it's going to test and come back. I think it's going to push down. A big, oversized, or not oversized, but a reasonable jump in inflation growth from 2.6 to 3.3 they've just had their rate decision, I think last 2 weeks ago. Should bring or could bring about some strength to the pound dollar. Because that means they're not going to look to, they might not look to cut rates that quickly. I would say that in, I like my triangles, the best thing to do is in this area, I wouldn't do anything because it's already kind of pushing up. It's slightly outside the Bollinger. If you try and jump in here, it might, or it could come right back in, right? So I wouldn't try and do anything in here. Say that you could let the dollar push this up. Very, very far away. The last time we came up to this point was in September last year. The last time we broke past, we got right through this point was in, I don't need that, was in 2022, where it came up to this level here. So back to the H4 time frame, we're looking at this. If you wanted to catch, let's say you want to catch this at 1.3360, your stop loss would be about 40. Your take profit will be about 70. You'd be looking at something like that. Might not be the best case, right? You could do that, but I wouldn't recommend it too much. I'd say let it do what it does in this area. You look for a possible break to the upside, then you'll be looking at 1.3460. You'll be looking at a 40 pip stop. You could be looking at a 150 pip take profit to the upside. Right? The thing is, I would actually prefer this to be a little bit wider, because I think what's going to happen here is it'll pop up, test, it will come up, it will test, and then it will just do that zigzaggy fashion to the upside, right? Because the last time it came up here, it came right back in. So you want to see what happens at this point here, and only if it breaks and closes above, you could look for that upside, but you want to give it a bit more space for that stop loss. Okay, so look for reaction at resistance of 1.3440. That's the first thing. Look for reaction at 1.3440. If it breaks through, then you could look to buy. Let's be a little bit different. What I mean by that is you're looking for that reaction at 1.3440. What if we see something similar here where it does that and then it comes right back in again? Right? Forming a bit of that double top, and the resistance of a key resistance from the last time we saw was September 24. So we're looking for that to test and reject and push back down. Because what if the dollar just comes right down and then pushes back up again, right? Bounces right back up. So yes, there is some upside. You could be looking at, well, firstly, you could be looking at 1.3465, your 50 pip stop loss, and then your 150 to the upside there. Or I would also be considering this move at 1.34. Right, test and reject, you got 1.34, you got 50, and you have 150 to the downside. So you want to see what happens at 1.3440. I don't think it is a given scenario that it's going to break, although I'd like to see what's happening there. Right, you're going to look for that 1.3440 resistance. Kind of, you're going to look for either a break or bounce reaction at 1.3440 resistance level. Make sense? Make sense? Put into chat, let me know. Then on to the euro dollar H4. Take that away. It's taking a while. That away, that away, and that away. Push down. Yes, we'll keep that one. Holding. Holding, yes. That's okay. I think we can put that one here. I don't know why am I changing this dotted line, because I think that we are looking at the upside. We are looking at that upside on the dollar, on the euro dollar, coming up to that 38.2 and that trend line, looking for it to break, looking for it to go past 50, 1.132530. Stop loss would be wide at 90. No, too wide. Too wide. Break. I still want it past that point. 1.13. Break that round number. Break that round number. You'd have a 60 pip stop. I don't see as much as I would like to call a 250 pip move to the upside. I don't see that yet. I probably would say 120 to the upside firstly. Then after that, if it breaks past that point, we could see even further upside again. And that's all based on dollar weakness scenario. As usual, we need to see what happens at this point because it's rejected twice already. So 1.13, 60 to 120 to the upside. Euro dollar buy at 1.13, stop loss 60, take profit 120 to the upside. Okay. All good. Again, just want to do a quick quick digression where, if you haven't already, click on that link, sign up with Pepperstone, try it out, share your thoughts and experience. That would help. That would help with the live streams massively as well. So I appreciate your support. Okay, now onto the US yens. Onto the yen pairs. Massive dollar weakness expected. So we should see, or we could see, the yen continue to push down. This move up, we've seen that 61.8 is testing. This big move up, we've seen that 50, which is testing in that area. So it does need to break below that area, 144.2060 to 160 or 180 to the downside would be what we want to see on dollar weakness. Straightforward. 144.20, 60 to 180. Sell 144.20, 60 to 180. Could have a double bottom forming. All right. If it breaks, it's not going to be a double bottom. But if it comes down to this point, then maybe we'll see a bit of that double bottom or that support level right here at 142. So that's easy. That's relatively easy, straightforward. On to the euro yen. Not as straightforward. All right. It just got down to that point and then turned back up. Take that away and that away for now. Right, you see the euro dollar pushing back up quite strongly. The dollar yen sitting there, but with a downward potential. So the euro yen is kind of stuck, undecided, trying to figure out where is it going to follow the euro dollar or is it going to follow the yen, the dollar yen. That's kind of holding it up. So what we're possibly going to look out for here would be 163, following the euro dollar to push up. Right? If the euro dollar goes up, it's going to drag the the euro yen up. Break above 23.6, you're looking at 163.10. Stop loss will be below that 23.6 level. Right, at about 50. The take profit will be right up there to 100 or to that resistance level. No, I'll update my resistance level up here to 200 to the upside. Possible hesitation at 164. And bounce around. Okay, good. I like that. So 163.10, 50 to 200. Let me put that in first. Dragged up by the euro dollar. We look to buy at 163.10. Stop loss 50, take profit 200. But we could have a hesitation at 164. Where am I? Okay. There we go. Okay. Then on to the pound yen. Same thing, right? Same thing. On pound yen, we said, hey, look for a retest and reaction at 192.40. It took a long time. It set at 192.40. And it sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there, and then it popped, but it came right down. And then you see this point. Where is it? Where's my line? Okay, here. Right, it set there 192.40. This was on Friday, and then no, it didn't go down to, sorry, didn't go down to 192.40. It was staying at 193.40. Right, it didn't come down to 192.40. It sat there, sat there, and then it popped a little bit lower. But what you should see here is as it pops lower, right? That's your 61.8. As it pops lower, you got the TSRI MACD crossing or having crossed to the upside. So it's going to conflict whatever you're thinking or you should be thinking, because it's pushing down, but TSRI MACD crossing back up, showing, hey, something doesn't align. The overall trend was to the upside, so maybe we should follow the overall trend. Trend always plays a little bit more of a stronger bias, right? Swiss yen, yes, for sure. Pound kiwi, for sure. Looks like yen pairs looks more bearish. I think that only the US yen, I've got a feeling like this might push back up for a while because it's dragged up by the pound dollar or dragged up by the euro dollar, right? The euro yen dragged up by euro dollar, pound yen dragged up by the pound dollar. So if you think about that, right, you would be looking at about 193.80. Stop loss would be wide. Pound yen stop loss is wide. Take profit 120 that way. Or in the best case, you'll be looking at, you want to see that sit across, you want to see that break above 193.75. You're looking at a 60 pip stop. You're looking at a 125 take profit to the upside. That way, that way, that way. Okay. Okay. So 193. You want to watch out for that point. Wait for it to break that level. I would go a little bit higher actually. I would think of 193.85. I would think of a 60 there and a 115 there. Okay, 193.85. Buy 193.85, stop loss 60, take profit 115 to the upside. Okay, and then onto the Sweezy, big dollar expectation for a big dollar drop. It's kind of popped down, kind of doing what I expected. Popped down slightly outside the Bollinger, hesitating, retracing back up a little bit. Needs a bit of time to develop that drop. So you're looking at this one, 8315.40 to 80 to the downside, or to 100 to the downside. No, I wish you one is a little bit lower. Don't think this will be a big one there. You're gonna catch that momentum. I would rather catch the momentum than try and pick the exact spot. So 8290 30 45. No, I don't like 45. It's either we take 50 or we just keep it at 35 and 75. Okay, 8290 0.8290, stop loss 35, take profit 75. 75 that way. Okay. Then onto the US CAD on the Loonie. Look, it's tested, it's rejected. This is a good setup. That's happening already. If you haven't got onto this trade, this is what we talked about on Friday. You wouldn't have, because it's only just popped down now. The dollar weakness is going to drag it further to the downside. You wouldn't want to do anything yet. You're going to see what happens at 1.39. If it breaks below 1.39, that means we see massive dollar weakness. You'll be looking at 1.3890. You'll be looking at a stop loss of 30. You'll be looking at a take profit of about 50 to the downside. I wouldn't change anything. I know it's not great, but I wouldn't change. I think those levels are what it does, and you're going to break that round number at 1.39. So the best you can do is 1.3895. A couple of pips difference. 25 to 55 that way. 1.3895. Let me see. 1.38. 1.3895, stop loss 25, take profit 55. The thing here, again, a big reminder is that we're very bearish on the dollar, looking at the dollar dragging everything down. That's what we're seeing right now. That could change, but it's a snapshot of the current markets at this point. Then on to gold. Gold, I'm kind of looking for this. I'm kind of looking forward to this. We talked about this on Friday, where we have this forming a bit of a shoulder, a neckline. Oops. A neckline there, and then the head, and then a bit of a neckline, and then I dragged this was here. I dragged this down as a bit of a shoulder again, and now it's popping up. It's popping up because dollar dropping should push gold to the upside. What if? The big question is, what if we do see gold break above 32? No. What if we see it break above 32.70? We could see it trade right up. We could see it trade right up. Take a bit more space. Say 32.8, 32.7, 32.80. Then I don't think even that. I think that if it breaks 32.80, you could see that one. Firstly, that point there. So inverted head and shoulder, break 32.80 towards 33.40, and then maybe even further upside. So that was a short-term view, but now we're thinking possible inverted head and shoulder, break above 32.80, could trade up to 33.40 if I haven't messed my numbers up. Yes, okay. Cool. All right, and then on to the Swiss yen here. With all of that coming back down, it didn't push up, it sat across, but it did push down. So we take that one away first. We can update this down here. Okay, no, this is going to be a little bit different. We don't need this. We'll keep this. We'll keep this. Yes. Trend line is interesting. So the thing here is US yen could be pulling it down, while the US Swiss franc dollar weakness could drag this down, which could in relation mean a bit of Swissy strength. So if you look at the Swiss yen, that's why it's a little bit undecided there. Looking at that. Looking at that. I'm kind of thinking that I'm kind of thinking it could pop a little bit up before it drops. You know what I mean by that? I'm thinking that it could pop up a little bit before it drops back down that way. But okay, regardless of how much it pops up by, a little bit or a lot, you do want it to break 173.50 first. So you'll be looking at 173.40. You'll be looking at a stop loss of about 60 above this point. You'll be looking at a take profit of 110 to the downside. 173.30. 60, 100. That's what you'll be looking out for. Okay, does that kind of align with what you're thinking there, Diana? Let me know. Then onto the pound Kiwi. Take those away. That's probably an H1 time frame. Big resistance. Don't need that. It's pushing up. It's pushing up right now as we speak. That's a good resistance point. It's pushing up because the pound dollar is pushing up. It's pushing up because Kiwi is not doing anything. So pound dollar is dragging it up now. So pound Kiwi is sitting there. That's my support and my resistance. My next point is up here. From here down, that was my 50% about there. Right, that's about my 50% there. Then my 61.8 there. If the pound dollar continues pushing up, then yes, we can see it push higher. It does need to break above this level. Could be looking at 1.2770. We're looking at a stop loss. Ooh, too big. No. We'll be looking at 2.2740. We'll be looking at a stop loss of about 60. You're looking at a take profit, not a massive 300. You're looking at a 110 to the upside. That way on a pound Kiwi towards a 61.8. But it does need to break that 50 first. So you're looking at that point and that as a whole area that it needs to break. Dana is saying looking to buy if it's from 172.50. Oh, okay. Yeah. So what you're saying is if it does this 172.50 and then buy back up, yeah, I think that could make sense as well. Basically the double, but you need to see what's happening on the yen as well. I think yen has if it drops strongly enough with enough velocity, it's a bit silly to talk about kind of dropping a velocity. They could drag that back down. It could even negate that euro yen and pound yen upside. But I think for now, yen still seems a little bit undecided sitting there. So the pound dollar, euro dollar still taking the control until the yen starts to move. I think that's kind of similar with the Swiss yen. Okay. I think you're asking for gold. I think you're asking for gold. We did gold already. Gold XUD USD. I don't know what I'm thinking. Wait, hang on, in case. Unless you're asking for palladium. I don't do palladium. You could, but gold. I'm looking at a possible. Let me know if I'm getting it right. If you're asking for a recap on gold, I'm looking at gold for a possible inverted head and shoulder. Possible inverted head and shoulder to push right back up. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Possible inverted head and shoulder to break above 32.80, could trade up to 33.40. Diana says yes, agree. If US yen will go down, it could drag. Yep, yep. Alrighty. So again, remember these are all on the H4 time frame. We are anticipating, we're risking it. I'm risking it, anticipating for that dollar weakness to break. It does have this big level that it needs to clear before we're going to see that downside. It's on H4 time frame. It's a bit of a set and forget kind of setups. Also because I don't have time to watch it that much, or watch it at all possibly. So I know I'm gonna have a good flight, go over there and bake a little bit. um, Come back with hopefully a nice 10. A lot more video content on the other channels, on my other channels. Um, and please trade well, trade safe. The Discord group is still on and active. Share your thoughts and ideas and trades there. If you haven't already, click join, be a member on YouTube as an Elite Navigator. We do this live stream every day. Remember to like and subscribe this live stream if you haven't already. Helps more people see this session. Okay, and also go check out Pepperstone. Register for an account using that link. It attributes your registration to me. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support the channel. Take care now. I'll see you all sooner rather than later. Bye bye.